What is your storm, your personal storm that you're facing, or that you have faced before, or that you know is gonna come? So just like the disciples in the boat, they feel like it's overwhelming, we're sinking, they're scared to death. And storms like that don't have to be outer storms, they can be inner storms. You get worked up in a tizzy, in a frenzy, and anxiety rises, and I feel like sometimes like a chicken with the head cut off. You know what that is like. So it's kind of, whoa, it's becoming overwhelming. It's like the feelings, they're rising. I feel like losing the footing, like a wave comes and sweeps me away. And then it takes time to gain my footing again. So what is that storm you're facing? What are the storms we're facing together? And the Hebrew scriptures, which we did not listen today, but it's so powerful in giving us the image of little David and giant Goliath. And Goliath is like a modern-day Hulk. I see him all muscle, all power, just like a towering strength present there. And little David, a shepherd boy, being out and coming in, and then he sees the Philistine, and they're all up in arms. What are we gonna do? And little David is facing the giant. So imagine what looks like a giant in your life. What is scary? What's the storm? What's your giant? What are you facing that feels like big? Whoa, yikes, because it's bigger. We all experience those situations. To give you an example, just on June 7th, one of those whoa moments happened when Ricky Inch passed away, just keeled over at age 66. It's kind of the world, as it has been for his family, has come to an end. Whirlwind, deep emotion, that's kind of, oh my God. Can you see the magnitude of that? Can you see the storm, the anger, the emotions, the turbulence, the giant the family is facing? And similarly, I think we are facing, I'm just thinking of the whole election cycle ramping up. Can you see a storm there? Can you see waves? Can you feel like, whoa, we're in deep waters? We're on crash course, feels like so big, gigantic. Or think of it as a child growing up and we being with partners or with friends where it's not safe. Feel like I cannot be who I am. I have to hide. It's not safe to be yourself. It feels like you got to duck in an abusive relationship. Feel like the other person is a giant, overwhelming. How do I deal with that? How do I face that? Well, our scripture gives us some guidance. What the disciples do when the waves are crushing into the boat, when they're swept away, when they feel like we're drowning, it's so big, they're scared to death. What do? They turn to Jesus. They find a peace in the relationship with Jesus. So it's kind of, they wake up in the storm and realize, oh my goodness, we forgot Jesus is close by. We got to wake him up. We got to turn to him. He's with us in the storm. We're just not aware of it. We didn't turn to him. Maybe we focused too much on the waves, too much on the giant, rather than turning to Jesus, who can bring calm into the waves, into the stormy life. He's right here with us. And then it is like Jesus gets up, he calms the storm, and there is this deep calmness. It's this calmness that we can breathe through deeply. We know, no matter what the storm is, we are in good hands. And this is how I imagine that, a little bit like a baby being held by mom. Why that? The baby, sometimes, you have seen babies overwhelmed, screaming, crying, not knowing. They're just, what they need is to be held in and through the storms, inner, outer, whatever. And I think the same way, we are being held when we turn to Jesus. We're being held when we feel like sinking. And one of the greatest gifts we can give each other is when we hold each other, when we're with each other through the storm, assuring us, when your hand becomes Jesus' hand, when your hug becomes Jesus' hug, when you are present with whoever is facing that storm, whoever is facing their giant. And once the storm is calmed, what does Jesus say? Jesus is asking them, where is your faith? Do you trust? Where is your faith? Jesus does not say, from now on, no more storms in your life. From now on, no more giants, powers to face. Jesus doesn't say that. But Jesus says, where is your faith? I'm close by. I'm walking with you into the storm and through the storm. I will be with you always to the end of the age. Don't worry so much. Don't get worked up too much. Trust. Have faith. So, what is your storm? What is your giant, that big power where you feel like, whoa? And do you have faith? Do you trust to face it? Not alone. I love the third verse. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. It's grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Many dangers, toils, and snares we have come by the grace of the living God. What's your storm? What's your giant? Will you face them with faith, trusting that Jesus will be with you in and through the storm? Will you do that?